Hi, my name is Aaron, this is my show Reeducation, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the sweeps that are currently happening in Seattle. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So a lot of you probably don't know this, but right now, as we speak, in a place called Cal Anderson Park in Seattle, a large portion of the park was actually taken over by many protesters and houseless people, so they would have a place to stay during the winter months. In Seattle, it gets very cold and wet and rainy, and a lot of these people that do not have houses needed a place to go. Now, Seattle spends something along the lines of $1 billion a year, billion with a B, on their homelessness problem, and yet they have done nothing to actually solve the real problem. In fact, just in a couple of weeks, a bunch of protesters, including anarchists, BLM activists, and so on, were able to do more about the homelessness problem through direct action than the city or the state has been able to do in literal years. So, like I was saying, a large portion of this Cal Anderson Park was actually barricaded off by a lot of protesters and houseless people, and they basically occupied that zone for the last, I believe, week or a couple of weeks. Now, this has been broadcast all across social media through the usual scumbags like Andy No as it being an autonomous zone. Now, this isn't an autonomous zone. They always want to declare every sort of thing that protesters do nowadays as an autonomous zone so you can kind of smear them and make them all look like terrible, crazy, violent anarchists when what they're really doing is trying to help people that are in need. So, what's going on with this whole raid, this sweep that we're talking about? Well, it turns out that roughly around 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning, the police showed up at Cal Anderson Park. They separated off into several different teams, and they began basically raiding the park and breaking down barricades and destroying a lot of people's goods. Now, there were many mutual aid tents set up where they were handing out hot drinks and coffee, food, fresh vegetables, that sort of thing. Those were completely destroyed by the police, and I'll show some pictures that I caught from the live stream. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any of the pictures of them actually destroying the goods, but once this live stream that I have linked in the description box below, check it out. Once it's up and live, and you can forward, reverse, or whatever, you can go and check it out for yourself. So, the police came in, they found a mutual aid tent that was helping people, and like they usually do, they started to destroy all of the goods, all of the food, all of the clothing that all of the volunteers in the community worked together to give to these people. Now, why did they start destroying all of these things? It's a pretty simple reason, actually, because the judge that allowed them to go in there and do their sweeps, this raid, basically said that anything that is soiled, broken, or wet would be declared garbage and they wouldn't have to salvage or save any of it. Of course, a lot of these homeless people were told that their belongings would be categorized and put away by the Parks Department so they could retrieve them afterwards, but because of this technicality, they decided that most of the goods and most of the clothing and food and that sort of thing could easily be thrown in the garbage instead of actually saved and categorized because it was either wet, broken, or soiled. And as you can see from the pictures that I'm showing now, a lot of the police were actually destroying things, and a lot of the Parks Department was actually throwing away perfectly good items that could have been donated back or given back to their rightful owners, but instead were tossed in the back of a dumpster or in the back of a garbage truck and crushed and destroyed. Now, the truth is that the city, or the police department itself, never had any intention of actually storing or categorizing or cataloging any of the homeless people's goods. They intended the entire time to throw them all away and destroy them. Even the judge that was talking about this whole case, when it was brought up that the things that were wet or soiled or broken would be discarded, they even exclaimed themselves that it's winter in Seattle and everything would be wet. It's a rainy place. In wintertime, they get a lot of rain. Everything gets soaking wet. And when you live in nothing more than a tent or a cardboard box, then things tend to get soaked and things tend to get destroyed. Watching this was one of the most inhumane, disgusting, despicable things I think I have ever seen. Now, a lot of the video footage that I'm using right now is from Malcontent News. They're an absolutely wonderful outlet, so if you can, please check out the link in the description box below and follow and subscribe them because they do some really, really, really good work. And I really want you all to show their organization some love, so definitely go and check them out. They're really good at what they do. And one of the things that the commentator that actually was filming a lot of this event was talking about was how Seattle actually spends something like $1 billion every single year on their homelessness problem, on their people without houses problem, because that's literally the problem. And it works out that they end up spending roughly $85,000 per homeless person every single year, and they have absolutely nothing to show for it. The commentator actually broke it down at one point, talking about how if you included rent and food and bills and job placement and counseling, and even if you included lawyer fees and that sort of thing, it would still equate to less than what they're spending right now on the homelessness problem without actually seeing any results whatsoever. So the city could literally set these people up in houses, give them food, give them clothing, give them everything that they need, even rent, and it would cost less than what they're spending on it now. And there's literally, like I said, nothing at all to show for it. Not only is it a mismanagement of resources, it almost feels as though the people that are involved, the people that are behind actually solving this problem in the government, are more interested in destroying these people's lives than actually doing anything to really help. We live in a system that is so overwhelmingly broken and completely inept and incapable of solving any of the problems that it has itself created. But unfortunately, there are so many people that believe that it is a true meritocracy that they think that these homeless people are actually getting what they deserve when they don't actually have homes or a place to hang their hat in the middle of winter just before Christmas. In a capitalist system, your worth as a human being is directly related to the worth that you have in your bank account. And not the cops, nor the city employees, nor anybody that actually works in the government cares at all about the well-being of these people. They destroy the food and resources as a form of attrition warfare. They destroy their houses as a way to completely salt the earth. They know that if they attack these people who are without houses just before Christmas, the place that hurts them the most, in their bellies, that they'll be able to easily take advantage of them and win whatever winning in this situation actually looks like. And they have absolutely no solution to any of these problems. All of the people that were occupying that space were told that they could go to some magic tent that apparently existed that obviously didn't, that would tell them where they would be able to find temporary housing and where they'd be able to get their goods back. And they just never set it up because they don't fucking care. And this isn't even the video that I wanted to do today either. I wanted to do a video today on how important it is to fight for Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic. And that is an incredibly important topic, and we will talk about it eventually, but it is interesting that the second that I sat down to record that video this morning, it all happened in real life, in real time. It all hit. And we could all see with our own eyes how important it actually is to get out in the streets, to protest, to stop this, and to actually set up dual power structures that really help people in the long run. Not only is it a tragedy that people don't have health care in the middle of a pandemic, but there are actually people that are being forced out of what little shelters they have left. Not even homes, but shelters, out into the middle of the street, with no plan, with nothing at all to help them. And that's where the government has left you. That's where your state has left you, with absolutely no solution. If this is how little the state actually cares about the people that need help the most, what makes you think that they're ever going to do anything for you? This is honestly a tragedy. This is honestly heartbreaking. And I hope everybody out there feels the same way as I do. And I hope that this is some motivation to get out there, get active, and start participating, because we need people out there. We need you out there. We need to help people now. At least that's the way I look at it. I'm sorry for giving you guys a bit of a disappointing, depressing story today. I know that I usually try to give us uplifting stories that are motivational and get people motivated in a positive way, but once in a while it is important to show the destruction and damage that this terrible, horrible system actually does. So thank you very much for watching. If you do get a chance, please check out all the links in the description box below. You can really help out my personal organization if you donate some money to the Direct Action Fund. It really, really, really helps my on-the-ground organization be able to get the supplies that we need to help people down here. And if you know of any other funds or direct action organizations that you can donate to or get involved with, which would be even better, then please go out there and do that, because we need bodies on the ground. We need you guys. We need you so bad. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.